She texted it at 2:47 in the morning. Your savings, ours now, family first. 6 words that made my entire body go numb. I was sitting in my kitchen, couldn't sleep because of a work deadline, and my phone lit up with that message like a grenade rolling across the table. My hands started shaking before my brain even caught up. I opened my banking app. The screen loaded. -$11,862. Negative. The overdraft fees were still climbing like a death toll. My sister Madison drained my savings to bankroll her fairy tale wedding. Didn't ask, didn't hint, just took it and texted me a victory speech while I was drowning in overdraft hell. But here's what she didn't know. I'm not the kid who took it quietly anymore. 2 phone calls, 1 police report, and I didn't just freeze her world. I burned it to ashes and salted the earth. You want to know how we got here? How a sister could gut her own brother and sleep like a baby? Let me rewind 30 years, because this didn't start with $12,000. It started when I was 5 and learned that love in my family had a price tag, and I could never afford it. Madison was born when I was 4. I remember the hospital, the balloons, everyone cooing over this tiny screaming thing wrapped in pink. My dad ruffled my hair and said, "You're a big brother now, champ. Gotta look out for her." I took that seriously. Too seriously. Because from that day forward, everything became about Madison. Her first steps, her first words, her perfect blonde curls that my mom would brush for an hour while I sat on the floor with uncombed hair and yesterday's juice stain on my shirt. I learned young that being useful was the only way to stay visible. At 7, I was doing Madison's chores because she'd cry and say they were too hard. My mom would shoot me that look, you know, the one like, "Don't be difficult, Alex. Help your sister." At 10, I gave up my birthday party because Madison had a dance recital the same weekend. "We'll celebrate yours next month," they said. They never did. At 14, I moved into the basement bedroom so Madison could have the bigger room upstairs with the bay window. "You're older. You understand," my dad said, clapping me on the shoulder like I'd volunteered every single time I said yes, because I thought if I just gave enough, sacrificed enough, they'd see me. Really see me. Not just the utility player, the backup, the one who made sure everyone else got what they needed. By the time I was 25 and working as a junior software developer, I'd perfected the art of being a ghost in my own family. Madison was in college, studying marketing, which apparently meant brunch 3 times a week, and calling me Sunday mornings for emergency money. $200 here for textbooks, $400 there for a spring break trip. Every time, my parents would call after, voices warm with pride. "Thanks for helping Maddie, Alex. You're such a good son. Family looks out for each other." I wish I'd kept receipts back then, but I was so starved for their approval that I convinced myself the money didn't matter. It would come back around, right? That's what family means. Or so I thought. The savings account was my secret rebellion. I was 27, finally making decent money after a promotion, and I thought maybe it's time I think about my own future, my own apartment maybe. A place where I wasn't sleeping in a basement next to the water heater. I opened a high-yield account and started putting $300 from every paycheck into it. Quiet, private, mine. It took 4 years to build it to $12,000. 4 years of packed lunches, skipped happy hours, wearing the same winter jacket until the zipper broke. That money was supposed to be freedom. A down payment on a life that belonged to me. Madison got engaged last April. Her boyfriend Trevor was fine. I guess worked in finance, drove a Lexus, had that cocky smirk of someone who'd never been told no. They'd been together 9 months. 9. But Madison wanted a wedding, and what Madison wanted, Madison got. When she announced it at Sunday brunch, my parents erupted in tears and hugs. My dad pulled out his wallet right there, started talking about venue deposits. I congratulated her, smiled, said all the right things. Inside, something hollow echoed. Nobody asked about my life. They never did. The wedding planning consumed oxygen. Every family dinner became a PowerPoint presentation about centerpieces and whether to do a morning or evening ceremony. Madison decided on a vineyard wedding 2 hours away because we deserve something magical, you know? The budget exploded from $15,000 to $40,000 to $65,000. My parents took out a second mortgage, and still, Madison wasn't satisfied. She asked me to be in the wedding party. Well, asked is generous. She announced it over text. "You're a groomsman, Obs. Trevor needs even numbers. Also, can you plan the bachelor party? Trevor wants Vegas. Make it epic." I stared at that text for 10 minutes. Calculated costs. Then I texted back, "Sure, the bachelor party cost me $6,000. Flights for 12 guys. Suite at the Bellagio. Bottle service. Steakhouse dinner. Poker tournament entry. I maxed out a credit card and told myself I'd pay it off slowly." My parents hugged me afterward. "You're so generous, Alex. Trevor's lucky to have you as a brother. Trevor didn't even thank me." Just posted Instagram stories with number-blessed captions, where I was cropped out of half the photos. 6 weeks before the wedding, Madison called me crying so hard I could barely understand her. "Alex, we have a crisis. The venue needs another payment and Trevor's bonus got delayed. Can you help us? Just like $6,000? We'll pay you back right after Trevor's bonus hits next month. Please, Alex. I'll die if we lose this venue." The words came out before I could stop them. "Yeah." Okay. I transferred $6,000 from my savings that afternoon. Watched the balance drop from $12,000 to $6,000 and felt something crack in my chest. But she promised she'd pay me back. She was my sister. She wouldn't lie. She never paid me back. The wedding happened in September. It was beautiful, objectively. Vineyard at sunset. String lights everywhere. Madison in a dress that cost more than my car. I stood up there in the rented tux I'd paid for myself and smiled until my face went numb. During the reception toasts, Madison thanked everyone. My parents, Trevor's parents, her bridesmaids, the wedding planner, the photographer. She didn't mention me. Not once. I told myself it was fine. She forgot. She was overwhelmed. But later, when I was hauling gifts to their car because the venue staff had gone home, I heard her talking to Trevor's sister in the parking lot. Honestly, Alex is kind of a doormat. I only put him in the wedding party because Mom guilt-tripped me. But hey, he came through with the cash, so whatever. They laughed, both of them. This light, casual laugh, like I was a punchline they'd rehearsed. My hands froze on the box I was carrying. Something in my chest didn't break. It calcified, turned to stone. But I didn't say anything. Just loaded the rest of the gifts, drove home, and sat in my basement bedroom staring at the water-stained ceiling until sunrise. I didn't confront her, didn't tell my parents. Because what would I say? My feelings are hurt. Sounds pathetic when you're trying to describe annihilation. 4 weeks later, I logged into my bank account to check my savings. I wanted to see how close I was to rebuilding after the $6,000 loan that was never coming back. The page loaded. My balance wasn't $6,000 anymore. It was negative $11,862. My vision went white. I thought the website glitched. But then I scrolled through the transactions. Withdrawals, all made in the past 3 weeks. $3,000 to a luxury resort in Bali. $2,000 to a furniture store. $1,800 to a spa. $4,000 to a car dealership. On and on, draining me past zero, deep into overdraft territory. Every transaction showing as authorized from my account. My account that only I was supposed to have access to. My throat closed. How did she? Then I remembered. 8 months ago, Madison had asked to use my laptop because hers was at the Apple Store. She'd spent the whole afternoon at my kitchen table, supposedly designing wedding invitations. I'd gone to the gym for 2 hours. My password manager autofills everything. My banking login was saved. She'd copied my credentials, saved them somewhere. Waited until after the wedding when I'd be least likely to notice right away, then bled me dry for her honeymoon and newlywed setup. She did it knowing I'd find out eventually, but not caring, Because what was I going to do? Family doesn't press charges against family, right? That's when my phone buzzed. 2:47 a.m. Her text. Your savings? Ours now, family first. Not even pretending it was an accident. Not even fake guilt. Just entitlement, wrapped in a smirk emoji. I sat there on my basement bed, phone glowing in the dark, and something happened. I didn't explode. I went cold, clear, focused. You know that moment when you realize you've been a volunteer prisoner? Yeah, that moment. Then I opened my email and started searching. Every Venmo request I'd fulfilled, every "can you spot me" message. I built a spreadsheet, dates, amounts, promises to repay. The total came to $52,000 over 7 years. $52,000 I'd given my family. And they'd stolen 12 more. At 8 a.m., I called my bank's fraud department. The representative answered, professional and calm. I kept my voice steady. Someone hacked my account and stole over $12,000. I need to file a report and press charges. She walked me through the process. Do you know who had access to your login credentials? Yes, I said. My voice didn't shake. My sister. There was a pause. This is a criminal matter, sir. Are you prepared to pursue legal action? My heart pounded, but my hands were steady. Absolutely. That was Monday. By Tuesday afternoon, the bank had flagged Madison and Trevor's joint accounts for investigation since stolen funds had been used for purchases they'd both benefited from. When you steal money and use it to buy a car, banks can freeze the loan pending investigation. The dealership repossessed their SUV Wednesday morning from their apartment complex. Madison called me 19 times that day. I sent every call to voicemail. Thursday, 2 police officers showed up at their apartment. I know, because Trevor posted on social media quickly deleted about harassment over a misunderstanding. The officers asked about unauthorized access to financial accounts. Madison apparently cried and claimed it was a family thing, that I'd said she could use it. The officer asked for written permission. Text messages, emails, anything. She had nothing, because I'd never said yes. I'd never known. Friday afternoon, my parents called. My mom was crying. Alex, what are you doing? Madison's terrified. The police came to her home. You're going to ruin her life over money? She stole from me, I said, voice flat. $12,000, plus 12 years of bleeding me for everything. My dad grabbed the phone. Jesus Christ, Alex. Family helps family. You've always been so sensitive. This is insane. Sensitive. The word ricocheted around my skull. I laughed, and it came out sharp, wrong. I've given Madison $52,000 since I started working. Paid for her emergencies that were vacations, funded a bachelor party for a guy who doesn't know my middle name, and she hacked my account and stole $12,000 more. But I'm sensitive? You're destroying this family. My mom's voice cracked through the speaker. No, I said, and my voice was ice. I'm the only thing that held it together, and I'm done. I hung up. Blocked them both. Saturday morning, I was going through the bank statements one more time, making sure I had everything for the police report. That's when I noticed something weird. Among the Bali resort charges, the spa days, the furniture there was a hotel. 4 nights at a Hilton downtown, 1 week before the wedding. Why would Madison need a hotel in our own city when she lived 20 minutes away? I cross-referenced the dates. During those 4 nights, Madison had posted Instagram stories from her apartment. Final wedding prep. So stressed, but so excited. But according to the bank statement, she wasn't home. She was at a hotel. Room 412. 2 guests. I did something I'm not proud of, but also not sorry for. I called the hotel, said I was Trevor following up on a stay, that I'd left something in the room and needed to confirm the reservation. The desk clerk was helpful. Yes, sir, Mr. Hart. You and Miss Chen stayed in room 412. Would you like us to check lost and found? Chen. Not Davis. Madison's last name was Davis. Trevor's was Hart. Who's the other guest listed? I asked, voice calm. Let me see. A Mr. Ryan Chen. Is that your business partner? The room was billed to a joint card. Ryan Chen, Trevor's business partner. The guy who'd given a speech at the wedding about Trevor being the most loyal guy I know. I hung up, sat there processing. Then I started laughing, because of course she'd stolen my money to fund a wedding to a man she was cheating on, with his business partner. The universe was writing its own revenge story. I had options. Keep it to myself. Let karma work. Or detonate a bomb. You already know what I chose. I made a fake email account. Attached the hotel invoice with both names, the dates, and screenshots of Madison's Instagram posts, proving she'd lied about her location. I wrote one line. Thought you should know what you married. Sent it to Trevor. Then I sent the same email to Ryan's wife, because she deserved the truth too. I hit send at 9 a.m. Sunday. By noon, my burner email had responses. Trevor's was 2 words, "You're dead." Ryan's wife's was longer. "Thank you. I'm filing for divorce." I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. "Hello? Alex?" The voice was male, older, familiar, but distant. "It's Uncle Mark, Trevor's dad." I tensed. "How'd you get this number?" "Your mom." "Listen, I just heard the whole story. What Madison did with the money, the cheating, everything." Trevor told me. He sighed, heavy and tired. "I'm calling to apologize for not seeing it sooner. For how my family treated you during all the wedding stuff. You didn't deserve any of this." Because Trevor's leaving Madison. He's filing for annulment. And because I used to think you were overreacting when your mom would complain about you being distant. Now I know you were surviving." His voice cracked. "I'm sorry, kid. I really am." "Thank you," I said quietly. "But I need space from all of this. Please don't contact me again." "For what it's worth, you did the right thing. All of it." He hung up. I blocked the number. Sat there in my basement room, my prison for 28 years, and felt something unfamiliar wash over me. Not happiness. Lighter than that. Like I'd been carrying a boulder and someone had finally rolled it off my back. The investigation wrapped up 3 weeks later. Madison pled guilty to unauthorized access and theft to avoid jail time. The judge ordered restitution $12,000 plus fees on a payment plan that would take her years. During sentencing, her lawyer tried the family angle. "Your Honor, this was a misunderstanding between siblings." The judge cut him off. "Theft is theft. Family relationship makes it worse, not better. Miss Davis will pay every cent back." My parents tried once more to reach me. They showed up at my apartment on a Tuesday night. I watched through the peephole as they knocked and knocked. My mom was crying. My dad looked smaller, older. They left a note under the door. "Alex, please, we're sorry. We didn't realize what was happening. Madison's lost everything. Can we talk?" I read it once. Then I tore it into pieces and threw it away. Because you don't get to ignore someone for 30 years and then demand forgiveness when the golden child falls. 2 months after everything imploded, I got an email from an address I didn't recognize. Subject line, "From Grandma Rose." I opened it, half expecting more guilt trips. "Alex, your mother called me last week, spinning tales about how you turned on the family. I called your bank. I'm still on your dad's accounts as a co-signer from when Grandpa was sick. I saw everything. What Madison did. What your parents enabled for years. She'd attached a document. I'm updating my will. Everything, the house, the savings bonds, all of it goes to you. Not them, not Madison. You deserved better, sweetheart. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. Love, Grandma Rose." I cried reading that email. Not sad crying. Relief crying. Someone saw me. Finally. It's been 7 months now. Madison sends messages sometimes from new emails when I block the old ones. Always the same script. "I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Please forgive me. We're family. I delete them without reading past the subject line. My parents send cards on birthdays and holidays. I returned them unopened. Trevor and Madison's annulment went through. Turns out Ryan didn't want anything to do with her either once his wife showed him the receipts. Last I heard through the grapevine, Madison's working retail, living with a roommate, making $50 monthly payments on a debt that'll haunt her for years. My parents are still trying to bail her out emotionally, but financially, they're drowning. That second mortgage is killing them. Karma's slow, but it's thorough. Me? I got promoted 4 months ago. Better title, better pay, actual respect from people who see me as more than a wallet. I'm rebuilding my savings, dollar by dollar. I moved out of that basement into a studio apartment with actual windows. I bought a coffee maker, one of those fancy ones, and every morning I make myself a cup and sit by the window and breathe. Just breathe. Last week, I ran into Madison at a grocery store. We locked eyes across the produce section. She looked tired, older, smaller somehow. Her mouth opened like she was going to say something. I looked away, kept walking, because I don't owe her my pain anymore. I don't owe her my forgiveness. I don't owe her anything. Here's what I learned. Walking away isn't cruel. Protecting yourself isn't selfish. And family? Real family doesn't hack your bank account and text family first like it's a punchline. Real family doesn't make you invisible for 30 years. Real family doesn't require you to bleed to prove your worth. I'm 32 now, rebuilding my life brick by brick. Some days are hard. Some days I wonder if I should have been quieter, kinder, softer. But then I remember that text, your savings, ours now. And I remember that being kind to people who weaponize kindness isn't compassion. It's self-destruction. I didn't just freeze Madison's world. I unfroze mine. And the view from here? It's cold. Yeah. It's lonely sometimes. But it's clear. And it's mine. And that's worth more than every dollar they ever took.